Win $1,000 playing 50 hours of Fortnite, and more, coming up on today's episode of the latest in tech news. Hey Gadgeteer, you're just in time for the latest episode of the world's only 3-in-1 show on tech, gadgets, and gaming news. That's right, this is the latest in tech news. My name is Taylor American. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now so that you don't miss out. By the way, hold off on the like button until you get to a section of the show that you actually like. Speaking of liking, our feature story today comes to us all the way from Utah. Apparently there's a company offering $1,000 for a candidate to play 50 hours of Fortnite. That and like $3,000 worth of really interesting gear to go along with it. We'll also be taking a look at Burger King using GPS and Google traffic data to sell more burgers. An interesting twist that you might find fascinating. We'll also be, speaking of fascinating, we'll also be looking at an image of the Magellanic Cloud out in space in a 240 megapixel image. Not joking, it took several months just to render this image. We'll also be looking at how to get Alexa Guard running on your Amazon Echo. We'll be looking at Lenovo unveiling the ThinkPad X1 Extreme Gen 2, but then not to be upstage, we'll be looking at HP's Omen X2S gaming laptop. We'll also be looking at Google could be paying Pixel owners up to $500 after a class action settlement. And finally, we'll be taking a look at World of Warcraft Classic release date. But first, did you know that Samsung initially sold noodles and other produce? It wasn't until 1970 that the first electrical product was sold by Samsung. Anybody want to guess what it was? I bet you would have no idea. A 12-inch black and white TV. Yep. Also, did you know that Samsung is very focused on creating as much as possible in-house, with about 90% of Samsung equipment made right in the Samsung factories? So, yeah, something you might want to keep in mind if you're like, well, Samsung, they make everything in-house, and Apple, they like to outsource it all. So, and Nike, as for that, well, we still got that fiasco going on. Why did I mention Nike? They're not even a tech company. Well, all right. That's enough there for me. Moving right along to today in tech history, seeing that today is May 14th. 2019, and the reason I'm saying seen is because I'm actually looking at the calendar and making sure I get it right, so that I don't, because the one time I did, somebody yelled at me about it. I told them, well, you're probably listening to the episode at a later date, or you jump back in time and you're listening to something in the future, in which case, Marty, get back in a time machine. So on this day in 1973, the United States launches Skylab 1, its first manned space station. It is the last launch of the Saturn V rocket and the largest payload ever launched into space at the time. Largest being that, well, Skylab will fall back into the Earth's atmosphere in around July of 1979, so I guess it couldn't float up there too long before it fell back to Earth. And also, on this day in history, in 1992, Texas Instruments, remember those people made calculators, announces its own 486 microprocessor chip. Texas Instruments announced it would begin selling an advanced microprocessor to compete with Intel's 486 chip. Also called the 486, the chip was designed by the Texas company Cyrix Corp. Texas Instruments' move was not successful in weakening Intel's dominance of the microprocessor industry. I think Intel essentially at that point said, hey, Texas, why don't you get back to making the little microchip processors that y'all use in your scientific calculators, and we'll be up here doing great stuff with our Intel chips, but we won't reveal that there's a flaw with our Intel chips going all the way back to 2011, a serious security flaw that was easily overlooked until this recent news came up about it. Speaking of which, I have no news on that data because I forgot to look it up at all. Period. There's so much happening today, guys. I actually had to bump up today, so if it happens to run over 30 minutes today, sorry, but we have a lot of news to get to. I'll try to be quick. If I'm speaking too fast, you can always press the button to slow down the speaking so that you can get current with all the news. There's just a lot going on today. Oh, man. But yeah, Intel, not doing too great. But other companies and other news companies, outlets have been covering it. So hopefully if you haven't heard, go look that up. I might have something on Facebook or Twitter later in regards to that whole fiasco going on with the Intel chips. Hopefully it's not as bad as it seems, although from what I've been able to grasp so far, doesn't bode well for Intel. Hopefully they fix that soon. In either case, I'm sitting here very happy because my computers run on AMD. Not sponsored, by the way, so with that out of the way, let's get on over to today's feature story. Speaking of feature story, get this. You, one lone individual on Twitch, streams Fortnite for 50 hours, and what do you get in return? $1,000. Yep, but not only that, a year of free internet and a modem router combo and a gaming router valued at $3,000 total. I'm not making this up. We got this article for us today, and if you're interested in applying, you have until May 31st to do so. The link to today's article will be in the show notes that you can find at technewsgadget.net/, what is it really quick? 116. Sorry guys, I had to look at my notes really quick, but it's time to floss dance. A local internet company is offering gamers the chance to win their dream job. HighSpeedInternet.com is looking for one lucky gamer to play Fortnite for 50 hours this summer. And I can't really do anything with the screaming child in the background because it's time for her to eat, so she likes to cry. Like, we already know she's hungry. In exchange for those efforts, the playing Fortnite for 50 hours, the company will compensate the person with a $1,000 paycheck, 1 year of free internet, the modem router combo, and a gaming router, all valued at $3,000. Now, this isn't a marathon, so the candidate will be able to play all 50 hours between June 7th and July 31st. After completing the assignment, the person will need to report back to highspeedinternet.com about how the high-speed internet boosted or hindered their play. All potential candidates must apply by May 31st. The winner will be announced on June 7th. Now, the caveat is you have to be over 18 to play. You don't have to be a professional streamer. And you have to be streaming it in its entirety on Twitch. So, for more information, visit highspeedinternet.com. Speaking of, you're like, well, what is highspeedinternet.com? Well, it's essentially like an aggregate data source for trying to find the fastest internet in the area, providers, places to go with that. So if you want to win $1,000, which if you're talking about streaming for 50 hours, roughly breaks down to $20 an hour, you're getting paid to play Fortnite. So that's all the details that I have so far. So if you're interested in applying, like I said, highspeedinternet.com. I can't do anything with the screaming baby in the background, so you'll just have to block that out. And we'll move on to our next article. So speaking on more news, Burger King will be using GPS and Google traffic data to sell more burgers. Now, traffic in some cities is quite frustrating. With help from Google and GPS on standard mobile devices, Burger King is preparing to make life a little more comfortable for passengers stuck in traffic. According to Bloomberg, the 66-year-old Florida-based burger joint will now deliver burgers, fries, and Coke to those stuck in traffic in Mexico City, Sao Paulo, Los Angeles, and Shanghai. Now, in Mexico, where the service is currently being trialed, the company will use the Rappi platform for deliveries instead of the Burger King branded delivery motorbikes. Bloomberg's report reveals that Burger King will use Google's traffic reports to spot heavy jams and to set maps for navigation, hopefully to be able to sell burgers and fries to people. And so it's an interesting idea, that I do have to say. How convenient that you're stuck in heavy traffic and a fast food company comes along offering you happiness. Burger King hopefully just offer the regular burger, fries, and a drink, and not your weird advertisement that you had going on. Now, according to the burger company's advertising agency, the one key issue Burger King faces is that deliveries have to be made within a 3-kilometer radius of the customer to guarantee that the food arrives hot and the beverages stay cold. Now, while the media have been unable to get in touch with Burger King Mexico to confirm the story, and a campaign might just be a simple hoax, for which the company has a reputation for, it does point to the sales opportunities that mobile devices and Google traffic data create for food and beverage companies. Interestingly enough, here's what I'm thinking out loud. In these areas with heavy traffic and heavy traffic jams where you're stuck for a long, significant amount of time, how about setting up a food truck in an area where you know the traffic stops are bad, and then having a runner go out and delivering food or picking up orders? I don't know. Could bode well. What do you guys think? Interesting way to use traffic data. I mean, probably never thought of this before, and other people are like, yeah, I've thought of this before, but I couldn't get a business idea off the ground because I really didn't know I was going to do it, and people have been known for ripping off my ideas, and I didn't really want to do that, so, duh. Well, hey, Burger King's going to take a shot at it, so why not? And, let's see. Speaking of, it wasn't the first big company to do that. Domino made the world's first drone delivery way back in 2016, although it really never scaled up the project, and Amazon too is experimenting with a drone delivery service it calls Prime Air, and Jeff Bezos recently said things look promising. The company even claims to have built an automated collision avoidance system which is expected to allay regulators and customers' fears quite effectively. So to be fair, drone regulations across the world are still developing, which is kind of the biggest issue right now. However, the days of drone deliveries aren't far away, given that many developed and developing countries are looking into the issue with the view to finding a solution that helps businesses while also protecting customers. Or you could just have somebody run out on a busy speedway that's backed up with traffic and say, hey, you want to buy some burger and fries? Or just drop an ad right in front of them and say, order now, right on your mobile phone, and ping the GPS right off their phone, and it, obviously if they give permission, and then hop right over to the store, order it, boom, delivered. Interesting thought. I'm thinking like Uber delivery, like food delivery in a traffic jam. Think about it. Interesting. I'll let you dwell on that a little bit longer and munch on a burger. All right, moving on to some more news. If you're looking at this picture right now, matter of fact, if you're watching the video of this right now, which is over at youtube.com/TechNewsGadget, we're looking at an awesome 240 megapixel image of the Large Magellanic Cloud. It's a cluster galaxy, or, well, it's a galaxy all the way out in space. Is what, well, the article says it right here. It's a good thing, Taylor, I can read. Yeah, read the article, dummy. I'm going to read the article. The Large Magellanic Cloud is what Austin Powers might call a quasi-galaxy, just 1% the Milky Way's size and orbiting it like a hanger-on. At a distance of 163,000 light-years from Earth, you might think it would take a space telescope like the Hubble or a huge observatory to do it justice. But here's where it gets interesting. The 240 megapixel image above, showing the cloud in incredible colorful detail, was shot by a small group called Ciel Austral, using a telescope in Chile, just 6.3 inches across. Now, the team itself is a team of 5 of very enthusiastic amateur French astronomers. So they own and operate their own telescope in northern Chile. Now, this image was stitched together from nearly 4,000 separate images that required, 6.3 weeks of exposure shot between July 2017 to January of 2019. Now, it took 2 computers 8 days to stitch together the photos and a further 2 months to process the 620 gigabytes of data. Now, if you could warp yourself to the cloud, this cloud at least, it wouldn't look like the dreamy, painterly image pictured above. Keep in mind, much of the image is made up of false colors that show the different elements present in the image. Different colors represent hydrogen, sulfur, and oxygen-3, emphasizing the cloud-like high-density glass nebulae in a way that a standard visible light image can't. Now, the image shows, stars all over the place, including supernova remnants, planetary stuff in the white-hot star-forming regions. So, spoiler alert, it's still eye-wateringly beautiful. And if you're listening to the podcast, you can always tap that article link for this article that we're talking about right now, and you can hopefully pull it up on your phone, except I don't think looking at it on your phone is going to do it any justice. Looking at it on a nice, larger screen television or monitor definitely will. This is juicy. I mean, look at that. I know, it's space. When you're out in space, all you see is various kind of colors and black everywhere. It doesn't look exactly like this, but this is pretty cool, that I will say. Moving right along, how to get the Alexa Guard running on your Amazon Echo. Now, for those of you who have the Echo smart speaker, you might want to listen up. Alexa Guard, Amazon's new feature that lets your speaker listen for potential signs of an emergency, is still in the process of rolling out to Echo Echo owners in the US. Why would you own a store? Once it's live for you, you'll be able to find Alexa Guard within the Alexa app on your iOS or Android devices. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Alexa Guard uses the far-field microphones and Echo devices to listen for glass breaking and alarms from a smoke detector or CO detector. Or smoke detector? Yeah. Once you arm your Echo with the voice command, Alexa, I'm leaving, Alexa will let you know if it has heard something problematic by sending a smart alert to your phone. The alert will contain an audio recording of the incident. If your Echo has a camera built into it, you can use the drop-in feature to take a look at the live camera feed. And if you pay for professional monitoring through Ring's Security Kit or ADT's Control Smart Home setup, you can enable Alexa Guard to send smart alerts directly to the security provider, who can alert authorities on your behalf. Now, Alexa Guard can also switch your smart lights on and off, mimicking your normal usage to make it look like you're at home when you're not there. Now, before you can take advantage of the Alexa Guard, you'll need a compatible Amazon Echo smart speaker or display. All Amazon Echo devices built with far-field microphones will support Alexa Guard, only excluding the Echo Sub, which doesn't have the microphone, and the Echo Auto, which isn't built for it. In other words, if you own an Echo and outside of those two, you're probably good to go. Now, for those of you who don't yet own one, they have a list of the supported devices, including the Dot, Plus, Show, Spot, and Input, and it goes into further detail about how to set up the Alexa Guard. Quite interesting. That I will say. A smart speaker listening for glass breaking or detector going off and alerting you if you're not home. Would you guys find this interesting? I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section below. I still haven't made the move into buying a smart speaker for my house personally. I have gotten it for my parents and they like it. We usually, they usually use it to listen to the radio or Pandora while they're doing stuff in the kitchen or sitting on a couch just relaxing, or, we've taken some time to play a game or two, the ad lib or the funny lib, whatever that game is. So it's been quite interesting, and interestingly enough, I'm kind of fascinated by the smart speaker space and all the skills that are being added into it. Did you know that, you might even be part of this statistic. Did you know that people listen to audiobooks and more podcasts outside of looking for their daily routine and maybe looking up the occasional tidbit of information? It's quite interesting. More so than having a podcasting app or audiobook on your phone, people are telling Amazon, Google Assistant, whatever, hey, why don't you play a blah 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 podcast, or hey, why don't you play my audiobook? And you can just walk around the house, have a great old time. It's actually quite fascinating. They actually listen to it more, and they listen to it more often than they would on their phone. So, in case you didn't know that, now you know. I'm probably blabbing to myself. You probably have no idea what the heck I'm talking about. Anyways, let's move on to some gadget news. So Lenovo is unveiling the ThinkPad X1 Extreme Gen 2. Well, what comes in it? New CPU, GPU, and an OLED display option. Lenovo has introduced its second gen ThinkPad X1 Extreme laptop for performance-demanding professionals. It comes equipped with, what I mentioned before, when compared to the current generation notebook. In addition, the new machine may be equipped with an OLED display. Now, it comes in the same chassis as the first generation machine introduced last summer, but its internals have been completely changed. The new Extreme is based on Intel's 9th gen Core i9 processor, paired with NVIDIA's GeForce GTX 1650 and a Max-Q design. Now, the notebook itself can be equipped with up to 64 gigs of DDR4 memory and up to 2 M.2 2280 NVMe SSDs, solid-state drives, up to 4 terabyte capacity in total. And we got some images here on the screen for you guys to look at. Looks quite fancy. Simple, clean, to the point. This Gen 2 will be available with multiple 15.6-inch display options that include a 4K OLED screen with multi-touch support. To offer premium multimedia experience, the upcoming ThinkPad Gen 2 is also equipped with Dolby Atmos badged speakers. Just like any other modern laptops, it supports Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Thunderbolt 3, USB Type-A, HDMI, GBE, and other modern interfaces. Lenovo does not disclose other details about the laptop since it's a couple of months away, and not all the details have been finalized. But based on its looks and similarity with the first one, talking about a mobile PC featuring a sub-2 centimeters Z height and weight of around 3.76 pounds, but they're preliminary numbers. We're looking at it being about $1,500 US sometime in July of 2019. And if you okay, if you're like me, you like to read the comment section. And the comment section, apparently, a whole bunch of people are all excited about a Windows PC announcement. They get their hopes up, and it never delivers. They just waste a lot of space on the screen or under the screen. It feels cramped, which is what some people are saying, but it looks simple. I still don't like that stupid red dot button in the middle that you can use for moving the mouse around. It's super frustrating. But that's the ThinkPad. It's how it's always been and probably how it always will be. But if you're looking for the next gaming gen laptop from Lenovo and you want it to be the ThinkPad, well, here you go. Here's your option. Have fun. Oh. But I got even better news for you guys. If you're thinking, oh, Taylor, seriously, Lenovo ThinkPad Gen 2 gaming laptop? I got you one better. Not to be outdone here, HP came out with an announcement. The Omen X 2S gaming laptop. And get this, it has a second display built right in. That image that you're looking at on the screen right now of the laptop? Yeah, not pulling any punches here. Bendy screens might be a hot topic right now, given Samsung's folding phone and cool prototypes like Lenovo's flexible screen laptop, but Omen's X 2S laptop is taking a different approach to packing more display into a device. Instead of one big screen that doubles as a touchpad and a keyboard, the Omen X 2S will put a phone-sized display directly above the keyboard. Look at this. Oh, man. I gotta say, like, looks, when it comes to the HP Omen gaming line of computers, ooh, Alienware really has some competition to do here. Now looking at it, you might be reminded of the Razer prototype from CES 2018 that let the Razer phone double as a touchpad and a second display in a laptop chassis, or you might be reminded of the Asus dual-screen ZenBook Pro 15. Now both of those had the display doing double duty as the touchpad. The Omen X 2S gives you a dedicated touchpad in the same area where you typically find a number pad on a 15-inch laptop. Now, the little 6-inch 1080p display is intended to work sort of like the second screen on a Nintendo DS. It gives you info you can't fit onto the main screen, as well as allowing you to customize macro or add a number pad in a pinch. It can even mirror specific parts of your screen to make sure you don't miss key information. Now, the example HP used was mirroring the minimap in a shooter game, which you can see here. They have a shooter game going on, and they wanted to mirror the minimap. So there you have it. So if mirroring is just one tiny part of the screen or using a macro pad doesn't appeal to you, HP claims you can also use it as a full second, albeit tiny, screen, tossing videos onto it, or even just display a Discord or a Slack channel. The second screen is powered by HP's own software using a mix of the Omen Command Center UI and HP Mobile View, two software suites currently available for HP laptops, with the former intended for gaming computers specifically. Instead of expecting game and software makers to program explicitly for the second screen, HP plans to do the heavy lifting with its software and let you customize it the way you want it. Burger King, eat your heart out. Size-wise, the Omen X 2S is about what you'd expect for a gaming laptop that runs an NVIDIA 2017 GPU standard. It's 20 millimeters thick, which is thicker than your average laptop, but in line with a thinner gaming laptop like the Razer Blade, which is 19.9 millimeters thick. Now, the Omen X 2S will be available as a pre-configured $2,700 US laptop with an NVIDIA 2080, Intel i7-9750H HC CPU, 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM, a 1TB solid-state drive, and a 144 Hz IPS panel. But if you opt to configure it yourself, the Omen X 2S will start at $2,100, with an NVIDIA 2070. It looks like the same CPU, same amount of RAM, a 256 gigabyte solid state drive, and it can be configured up to an i9-9880H, 32 gigs of RAM, a 2TB solid state drive, and a 240 Hz display. The Omen, stop playing these videos, Gizmodo. The HP Omen X 2S is expected to start shipping in late May and should be in stores by June. And I got it. Oh, gosh. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I look at images like this, I sit here and I fight amongst myself. Who has the better looks? Is it Razer? Is it Alienware? Is it the Omen? All these big brand companies doing really nice stuff. Or is it Cybertron PC? I don't know. It's a real toss-up. I mean, they come out with these different kind of laptops and computers, and they look juicy. Are you drooling yet? I don't know. You guys, I don't typically do a lot of gaming, gaming gadget type reviews, but I know most of you are interested in it. I'm interested in it myself, so yeah. I'm sorry. If I'm geeking out here a little bit, it's for good reason. I like a really nice, well-done product that looks nice, feels nice, works great, has the specs that I want it to do. Oh, I would love to get a review on this. If there's anybody at HP listening, I would love to be able to review this unit. So please let me know, because I'd like to show you guys as well. So, moving on. Moving on to some more gadget news. Well, Google will reportedly pay Pixel owners up to $500 because of a microphone defect, and even people who didn't have issues could get a payout. Now, listen up. For those of you who have a original Pixel smartphone, there is a class action settlement currently going on. You might get paid up to $500. According to a report from The Verge, back in 2017, Google acknowledged that a small percentage of Pixel devices had defective microphones, which led to hundreds of complaints and returned devices. However, the device was never really pulled from the market. A class action lawsuit filed in 2018 criticized Google for continuing to sell a Pixel in spite of that knowledge of the defect, and claimed that multiple people who returned their defective devices were given replacements with the same problem. So, Google agreed to settle the lawsuit and will pay people who received a defective replacement up to $500. Those who dealt with just one defective Pixel could be paid up to $350, and even Pixel owners who didn't experience any issues could be paid up to $20. People who use insurance to replace a Pixel can also be reimbursed for the value. Google did not respond immediately to Business Insider's request for comment. According to The Verge, the settlement is still awaiting preliminary approval, with the hearing scheduled for June 5th. The law firm handling the case will also be responsible for making sure Pixel owners get their payouts. People interested in joining the settlement should visit their website, but it seems to be down at the moment, likely due to a massive influx of Pixel owners. So, I guess they have the link on the Business Insider article, so I'll leave the link in the show notes for you guys to take a look at. Hopefully they figure that out and they can get that all fixed. So if you had a Pixel and had a defective microphone, well, here's the news for you, and hopefully you can be reimbursed for your troubles. All right, and moving on to our last article of the day. Wouldn't go without saying that World of Warcraft gaming news would be on the horizon. World of Warcraft Classic is coming in August. So, for those of you who don't know, World of Warcraft Classic will be sending players back in time this summer, returning to the days before flying mounts, dungeon queues, and earth-shattering cataclysm. You'll be able to start leveling up a new character in old WoW, get it, on August 27th. But? Hey, I can rhyme. You can too, just rhyme with me and we'll be cool. It's a long day, a lot of articles to get through, so you might not need to wait until August. However, from May 15th, Blizzard will be inviting select players into a closed beta, while more will be brought in for a stress test beginning in May, July-ish. If you fancy participating, they do have a link where you can sign up at wowclassic.com. From launch, all WoW subscribers will have access to Classic, so you might as well take it for a spin. It's an unusual experience, simultaneously frustrating and comforting, but perfect for a spot of digital tourism. For more, well, PC Gamer did a preview on the whole nostalgia. Classic's arrival is part of Blizzard's celebration of 15 years of WoW and 25 years of Warcraft. There will be a few other things to mark the occasion, including the launch of the World of Warcraft 15th Anniversary Collector's Edition, which will be available from October 5th for $99. Most of that hefty price is down to the fancy Ragnaros statue, and probably not the pin, mousepad, or the prince. And speaking of Ragnaros, well, here he is getting furious about being encased in glass, so that might be what you're going for. So for those of you who are interested in World of Warcraft Classic, well, it's coming back, and nostalgia takes me over. Yep, I remember those days. hey, I tested it out. I played it. It's kind of how I figured out how MMOs actually worked. I had no idea prior to that people would pay $15 a month to play a video game with people all over the world who you had no idea who they were on a bunch of different servers and do all these different quests and things. It was definitely interesting. And then you could have groups and clans, and yes, the Leroy Jenkins jokes of the day started coming out, and the Murlocs, and you going into all chat and the cities and just saying Chuck Norris jokes, and then having everybody else mad at you and trying to report you to a moderator or admin or some higher up in the server to try and get you booted. But all you did was you didn't start any trouble. I remember all those days. If you played WoW back in the day, or you played WoW up currently, you know what I'm talking about. In which case, if you have, let me know down in the comment section some of the goofy things that you did. I've been known to do quite a number of goofy things on the server, including jumping off towers, running through enemy cities, and laughing at people in high-level armor gear, a bunch of other stuff. You name it, I've probably done it. I've done it on a wide variety of servers, had a lot of fun with World of Warcraft back in the day, and that's kind of what got me interested in online gaming and MMOs in general, and how can you play with people online. It's this new fascinating subject. So obviously everything I learned about that, I've now learned. I don't play WoW much anymore. I don't have time. I have a family and a job to do, and this show. So yeah, I'd love to reminisce with you guys. So if you played World of Warcraft at any time in the past, let me know down in the comments section down below. I'd love to be able to chat further. With that being said, I believe that, does that cover everything? Yeah, it does. And with that, that wraps up this episode of the latest in tech news. Thanks for tuning in, guys. New episodes every weekday. The latest in tech news can be found on every major platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Stitcher, Overcast, and more. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to let us know by clicking that like button and leaving a comment. Also, double check that you are subscribed so that you don't miss the latest tech news. I'm your host, Taylor Merrick, and remember, for the latest in tech, gadget, and gaming news, visit TechNewsGadget.net. Pretty much, keep being awesome, guys, and I'll see you on the flip side.